headlines. I thought this was a little bit interesting. Okay, boomers, it's time to remember games from our childhood, or for many of the listeners, games that they've only seen really, funny memes about. So 4 more games have been inducted into the World Video Game Hall of Fame. It's called the Strong National Museum of Play. They announced on Thursday Williams Electronics Defender, Rare's GoldenEye 007, id Software's Quake, and Bandai's Tamagotchi. These are the 4 games that made it in. They were judged on 4 metrics: icon status, longevity, geographical reach, and influence. I guess they started this in 2015. 49 games have been inducted to the Hall of Fame. Last year, it was Asteroids, Myst, Resident Evil, Ultima, and SimCity. I was in the toy industry, actually, when the Tamagotchi came out. And it was such an incredible fad. And I think it was the game that actually created the appointment mechanics. If you remember, you had to go and get this thing and feed your little Tamagotchi, or it would literally die. And this whole thing that you bought would just be a waste. And so years and years after, I was rushing home to harvest my strawberries in Farmville. So I don't know. I think this might have been the first one. Do you guys have a favorite among the bunch?
Of Tamagotchis?
No, of the group. Cress, I think you were at EA as I was, around the GoldenEye time when people were like, oh, GoldenEye. It's all anyone could talk about at EA. Is there a favorite among the bunch for you guys?
See, for me, GoldenEye was definitely a marquee moment for the industry, but the game itself was fucking hard. It was it wasn't fun, right? It was a shooter on console, but it was still they didn't have the dual analog. For me personally, Quake has always been the de facto. That's what got me into shooters in the beginning. Yeah, obviously Doom, but then Quake was just that fucking visceral, just insane, Twitch 1-on-1, 7-on-6. I think it was 1-on-1 at the time. I can't remember. Yeah. Anyway, that was an amazing game.
It was the brown game. I remember everything was so brown on Quake. I think I loved SimCity. I remember probably playing SimCity first on NES. I think that was
really? Oh, wow.
Yeah. But Resident Evil was another one. I remember being 7 or 8 year old. And we were so afraid with my friend just playing the 2 of us. We're do a headshot, do this. And then when the other dog comes through the window, that kind of stuff. So there are definitely some memories around that. So yeah.
Yeah. Doom and Wolfenstein were my college buddies would do a lot of that. And then I had friends, that did LAN parties when I was in high school. It was really, I don't know, all the way back. And then, I had my little Apple II Plus, and I was ooh, look at Wizardry. Hopefully Wizardry will make it in there one day. All right. So Mishka, you want to take Triple Dot?
Chris can take it. He's
all right.
This deal is closed. Triple Dot has acquired AppLovin's entire mobile game business for $800 million. They basically get 10 studios, including Project Makeover, Hexasort, Wordscapes, and then obviously the Machine Zone stuff under the umbrella, a pending regulatory rule, but that should not be an issue. So to reiterate my point here, again, I don't want to beat them up any more than I already have, is that this is a lot of company for Triple Dot to absorb. Triple Dot is a ad company that has games, right? These is 10 relatively large studios all over the fucking world that do live ops and in-app purchases and things that Triple Dot does not do. And they have no experience really managing. So strategically, it makes sense. If they want to scale up and justify their valuation as a company, they need to get bigger and do actual in-app purchase stuff, improve their margins, and get financially viable. And financially, this thing is a steal, right? It's I don't know, 0.6. Yes. But you're going to talk about
0.6.
this, but
0.6, yeah.
0.6x revenue, which is a fucking terrible multiple for mobile in general. But this is a special circumstance, so I don't think it's indicative of valuations. And the critical part of this deal, as in any M&A deal, is fucking execution, right? And this is not going to be easy. So let's hope they pull it off. I'm sure we'll be covering it over time in terms of what it means, what happens with this asset. He's going to talk about the structure and stuff, which is really weird fucking structure too, right? So
yeah, feels like this deal was done with somebody spit in their hand and did a handshake. This is not out of Chris Petrovich's M&A playbook. So this is the deal terms, as you said, 0.6 revenue multiple. The EBITDA multiple, was it 3.5? I think, which is also absurd because typical gaming studio EBITDA multiples is between 4 and 6 at the moment, which is very low because if you consider subscription-based app, it's between 6 and 10. Transactional ad-based apps, blanking. Anyways, they're between 4 and 7. The marketplace apps like gig economy, Ubers, there are like 6 to 10 revenue, not even EBITDA. So this is like the lowest possible valuation. And then going back to these terms, it was originally 900, and then they gave another $100 million away, between friends. Who are we asking? And then 2 years ago, that was at an event, at a banker event. So, and somebody was asking me, do you think somebody would buy app? Like he was looking for buyers for this, and who do you think could buy AppLovin's gaming portfolio? And I said, how much? I think I remember this correctly, but he said 2.6 billion. This was 2 years ago.
But that foots, right? 2 to 2.5 times revenue, right? That makes sense,
So this is just trying to explain how dirt cheap this was. And then it's not that it's $800 million of cash. No, that would be too much. It's, well, give me 400 million in cash. Give me 150 now. And then promissory notes of 250 million sometimes. And then 400 million out of that, I'll take in your shares because your valuation is now 2 billion. This was free, Chris.
Oh my God. They're just giving this thing away.
Exactly. We should have bought this.
This is a testimony to what this actual asset was worth. They were trying to sell this for the last few years.
Yeah,
and so no one wanted it for
years.
good reason. It's so fucking complicated. There's so many companies. There's so many studios. They're all over the world. It is not an easy thing to manage. Everybody looked at this is the thing, but no one wanted it, right? And so good luck, Triple Dot. Like this is a fucking hand grenade, but and on the best possible terms, right? Yeah. But it's still a hand grenade that they have to manage. So I mean, it's not going to be easy. So
I remember back in the day when one game studio would come into EA and it was like, oh my God, it was like everyone's hair was on fire and like culture. And it was so difficult to have that like merging and acquisition. And now you've got, I don't even know how many studios are, like you said, around the world and languages and cultures
10 studios.
10?
And I think it was, and 23 cities.
Oh, wow.
And so this is like Glue would have acquired EA. This is
exactly.
Yeah. You know what? We'll start doing HD games. Who cares? It's like, how hard can it be? Because this is the same type of situation. So if we look at it from AppLovin's side, of course it makes sense. They cleaned up their margin. And Jen, if you want to show the image that shows AppLovin app financials for their apps and their advertising financial, it really shows the story. So on the top, you see the revenue from their app business, which is like over 2 billion. Then it goes to 1.8, then it goes to 1.4, and it stays between 1.4 and 1.5 after 2023. And, healthy EBITDA of about 250, 260 million, $100 million a year. And then when you look at their advertising financials, they're just booming. So every year, massive growth. And we're talking about an EBITDA of almost 3 billion. So they're essentially cleaning this away, this asset that is kind of bringing the averages down and focusing on where they're getting their money from. And then if we're being like very positive and looking at it from the Triple Dot perspective, there's two things that you're getting from here. So one is scale. So now they have 25 million DAU. That's a lot. And they got $2 billion in revenue. They got 2,500 people. I don't remember how many they had. I think they had a couple of hundred in London. But yeah, they're 2,500 right now and 23 cities that they're operating from. So everything from Cyprus to Shanghai to London to South.
I'm getting an anxiety attack just thinking about this. I'm just like, oh my God.
Imagine that, like, CEOs typically go and they show up, but, Phil Spencer went down the blizzard and took his pictures. Can you imagine the world tour that has to happen of the leadership team to go welcome the new teams in?
They just lost their two key execs too, right?
Oh, really? Oh.
Look, I think, I think this is, it seems folly to me, but good luck,